is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Bears fans. Yeah, it's a football Sunday. We got the Bears at the Lions as the war weeks continue to pile up. Of course, with me this morning, I've got another guy who never has an opinion on anything at all. Good morning, Woody.
Fucking war week. Are you serious?
Hey,
we're the Confederates, right?
I don't know what we are, man. We're the rebels.
Yeah.
We're the rebels, yeah. Good morning, Dan. How are you doing this morning?
All right.
And, of course, we got producer Mike back there doing his whatever he does thing.
Ask him.
Making slides that we don't see yet.
Yeah, slides.
So, hey, real quick
programming. How many times you guys share it? I share it 10 times more than all you guys put together, but carry on. Host.
Hey, I share it on Twitter, actually, and hey, good morning, Bears.
No, you don't share it. You go live on Twitter. It's a difference.
No, I have to share Bears Twitter, Mike.
Oh, do you?
Oh, my gosh. It's like Rick Mott.
No, I share Bears Twitter.
What's up, Joe?
What's up, Joe? Hey, quick programming note. We will be on Christmas Day at a normal time at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, because the Bears play Thursday. So we will have a show on Christmas Day. So after we all unwrap our Christmas presents, all our brand new Bears memorabilia, signed helmets, signed pictures, and whatnot, then we can come talk some football on Christmas Day. So we got a game today, though. Before we get to that game against the Sea Chickens, which will be the final home game, we have a home game today against the Detroit Lions, and we just had an away game against the Minnesota Vikings. So, yeah, a little busy.
Yeah.
Busy. Like Dan said.
So, I was thinking about this, but the season obviously has not gone anywhere close to where we probably, any of us predicted. Because, we're not losing for the reasons we said we'd lose, right, at the beginning of the year. We're obviously not winning. But, damn, this team is still – look at the numbers from Monday night. Really, we kept pace with Minnesota in all but two areas. One obviously being score, and the other being third down conversion. Everywhere else, though, across that stat sheet, the Bears are right there. And it's been that way all season. So, we're close. Of course, close only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes. But we've got a good team. Just why can't we get over the hump? Obviously coaching. But what else? Is there anything else?
It's not the personnel. We got plenty of that. I don't know. It's just like, can this team play together? All consistency, all sides of the ball, offense, defense, special teams. There's not many games that we had that all three are working together. And Ken, we all remember what Caleb Williams said at the beginning of the year. Hey, Mr. Taylor, you're not going to be punting a lot. He has more yards than you, Caleb. So, is it all coaching? No, I don't believe so. Could it be play calling? Yes. I don't believe it's the personnel, maybe the offensive line, lack of sacks, blah, 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 lack of scoring in the first quarter, first half. I did bring this stat up. The Bears are, this is disgusting. 5 times this year, we were shut out at halftime. That's fucking sad. A professional team, 5 times this year at halftime shutout.
we are the worst team in the NFL in first half scoring. Um, I attribute some of that to coaching. Like if I look at the game last Monday or Monday night when Minnesota had the ball third and short, like 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, we'd get them off the field. If it was 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15, they converted every single one because we would go into like this soft zone, like we'll give you 7 yards, but we'll stop you. Well, we never stopped them. So I look at that as coaching.
And Rob, I understand what you're saying. Sarah, we've been on vacation since the Hail Mary, so hopefully we come back soon. Rob, I understand most rookies, CJ Stroud, blah, blah, blah. But CJ Stroud didn't have the fucking personnel that we have on offense. Imagine if CJ Stroud was on the Bears and had this personnel. 3 receivers. I mean, you got Cole Kmet. I thought highly on Everett because he was good at the Chargers. A defense that came on strong last year at the end of the year. But with this personnel, I believe it's coaching, play calling, yes. But we got to start saying some of it's Caleb Williams as well. So CJ Stroud with this personnel we would have been in the playoffs this year, plain and simple.
Well, Williams is making mistakes, but he's doing good things too. He's got, for a rookie, I think he's doing well.
Actually,
I just think he needs to get rid of the ball a little faster and go through his progressions better because there's numerous times where there's a wide open receiver he just isn't seeing.
Oh, man.
But it doesn't help getting sacked 58 times. Every time you drop back, you're thinking, 1 out of 2 dropbacks, I'm getting.
And that's what I said to Ken the other day. When Caleb Williams hikes the ball, gets the ball, he's probably thinking in his head, "Oh my God, where's the sack coming from this time?" And that could be nerves as well.
And let's welcome to the show. She's only a week late because she was supposed to be on last Sunday.
Yeah, I'm surprised she's up this early.
Good morning, Sarah.
Come on, Bears. I have faith in you guys.
Sarah, I don't talk to people without their camera on. Let's go.
I'm laying in bed. I don't turn my camera on.
You're laying in bed. Okay, let me see. Do I have you on the back chat? Hold on. All right, yeah. But yeah, Sarah, it's just we all thought, that Minnesota would be last place in this division, and that was the shock. I think the shock of the year of the whole league is Minnesota. So
would you guys trade let's say 2 first-round picks for KOC?
No.
Good morning, broski. Good to see you back.
If we're this bad with this personnel, we need to keep as many fucking draft picks that we have. That's why I said people say, "Oh, why don't we trade for Kyle Shanahan?" Fuck no. Keep all our draft picks. Build this team up.
We've got about 20 roster spots to fill for next year. I mean, there like 4 or 5 of those guys are going to be re-signing, so some pay raises maybe. We've got we'll call it $100 million. It's $80 million right now, but the NFL last year gave an additional 30. Let's just say this year it's not going to be as good once they get 20. So we have like $102 million. We got about 20 roster spots to fill. We've got how many draft picks? 49.
9.
So you got about 5 guys that they'll re-sign, maybe 6, right? So okay, now you've got 14 guys to fill, 9 picks. Okay, so that gives me 5 free agents to go after, and you figure the Bears can go out and get 3 guys maybe at about the $20 million a year annual range, and maybe address the 2 areas they really need to address personnel wise, which is another edge rusher and O-line. And it's not that the O-line guys are terrible. If you look at them, their PFF grading throughout the season, the second Thomas took over, grades jumped almost 10 points. It's ridiculous how much better they're playing with better play calling. So
I don't know. I don't trust PFF. They always give our center a good grade. I'm like, what the fuck are you watching?
I mean, the PFF grades, you got to remember they're based on the individual matchup, how all the little things on it. I mean, because right now ours is ranked 12th in the league. Now the guy Bears fans want is a kid from Atlanta who's ranked 5th in the league right now. But as Atlanta, but here's the thing about free agency talk at this point of the season, right? And I love that Bears fans are looking at other rosters, looking to see who's a free agent, say, "Ooh, we're going to get this guy." Okay, is Atlanta going to let that guy even test free agency? And when you ask that question, well, he'd be stupid not to test free agency. Well, that's every free agent, but most of these guys, a lot of these guys, end up staying with their team. So, do you think Atlanta, who's got the 5th best center in the league, is going to let this kid walk if Penix is going to be their quarterback?
Yes, yeah, I agree with you, Ken. Especially if you have this, Penix coming up, brand new quarterback, first year and stuff like that. They're not going to get rid of their top center.
No.
I would want to have a top center for a new quarterback to protect his ass and maybe learn from. But yeah, there's no way they would get rid of him.
PFF isn't, PFF's pretty much the standard to some degree, but I get it because it's misleading. I don't like PFF, but PFF is what people look at in terms of how these guys are getting their contracts, how much they're getting paid. The thing with the line, the thing with PFF that it can't take into account, right, with offensive linemen. Like, sure, you can tell me that Shelton's the ranked 12th center in the league, but it doesn't take into account the work of the line as a unit, right? That part.
But what's his Madden rating?
That's interesting. I don't know what his Madden.
We'll
see what his Madden rating is when it comes out for next year,
Gotcha,
right?
Mike.
Because the Madden rating will be based off this season. So I'll be interested. That's a good question.
Hey, Sarah, I like to say our punter has a better Madden rating than Caleb Williams does.
Maybe the Jets will try to take him.
Yeah, good morning, Yoli.
Yoli
in a while.
Yoli.
Hey, but here's something for you guys to look forward to. At least you guys aren't the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, they got the Jets are just, look, I get where the Jets are at though, right? The Jets took a swing. They took a big swing with the Rodgers deal, and then he tears the Achilles, and then from that point on, it just unraveled and fell apart. They were thinking we can win now. We can get this great quarterback and do something, and he gets hurt week 1, and it all fell apart for the Jets. So I mean, I can understand how they got to the mess and why they got to the mess. But now you look at the North, and you look at what all 4 teams in the North have done. I mean, all 4 of these teams are highly competitive, full of good players. Probably the best division in football right now.
True, but how can you say a 4-win team is competitive right now with an 8-game losing streak?
Well, if we can win, I'm just saying, if we can win, if we can win close games, we'd be competitive in that division.
Yeah, I mean, because you look at 3 of those games, Mike. The first 3 games against the division, we lost all 3 games by a combined total of 7 points.
But Ken, you got to think of it. But Ken, you got to think of this. Ken, is that we had to come back big time in all those games.
Yeah,
you guys don't know how to win close games. That's your problem.
And we were in Minnesota a couple years ago.
Yep.
Leadership, coaching.
I mean, and so that they've got to figure that out. And I don't know if that piece is more on coaching or on personnel. To be honest with you, I think it relies a little bit more on coaching. And look, I know some guys like Packer backer Rob are like, oh, these guys don't want to play. They've given up. Like, I don't really see that. I saw it at the end of the Vikings game, but by that point they had the fumble that killed the drive. Then they had the not report and penalties, and at that point players are like, oh, here we go again. They're trying to get a W. They're trying to break this losing streak. But I think depending on how this game goes today, for example, if it's competitive going in the fourth quarter, they're going to be playing hard. But if it's another one of these, driving the ball 80 yards, stupid penalty at the goal line because someone doesn't report, followed by another stupid play, then I can see how they might just say, we're done and check out.
The funny thing was, the beginning of this year, Ken, is that the Bears had the largest home winning streak in the league.
And that continues.
Yeah, and the longest losing streak on the road.
Yeah.
I think
least we're
that not
consistent.
reporting
We're Quagmire.
really killed killed the morale of your team last week, because it's like if you had gotten that touchdown,
It would have been a
that it
6-point lead.
it would have made the guys play harder, but that was just like a devastating blow.
Yeah.
Well, and that penalty, and then Karan's penalty.
Yep.
We were third and goal from
Yeah,
the 12th.
rookie had a rough day.
So
The rookie had a rough day. He had a big assignment. Like the nerves was set in. Like he definitely didn't do.
And in the beginning, in his press conference, he says, "Don't worry, Caleb, I got your back. No one's hitting you." Okay, dickhead.
As he gets,
Dumb fuck.
as he gets smashed from the blind side.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fucking
But, I
douchebag.
mean, I look at the players are going to play hard to start the game, probably for at least the first half, 3/4 of the game. Until Sarah does happen.
Bless you. Oh, yeah.
These guys are all trying to get good tape out there, because some of these guys aren't going to have a job in Chicago next year, and they're going to be looking for their next job, and they want to have good tape. Some of these guys want contract extensions. You know, it's the guys like, I hate to say like DJ Moore, but he's an example because he signed long term and has, you know, he's not going to get cut, and he knows it. Like guys like him are the ones you want to watch to see if they've given up, because your long-term contract guys, they're the ones who can, the ones that know that, you know, look, we're not cutting DJ Moore. I don't care how much he slips off this week. You know, we're not going to cut a couple. There are some guys that just, you know, they're safe. If those are the guys that start sloughing off, yeah, I can see those guys going, you know, I'm just frustrated, forget it. But all these other guys, like there's 33 other guys on this roster who want a contract next year, who don't have one. They're all going to play hard.
Well, Sarah, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Brian Flores, is he'll be a head coach next year?
Nope, I don't think teams are ready to hire him. His
So do you think he's in the Gruden zone, kind of like, oh, he's got the lawsuit against the NFL kind of thing? I think that's just keeping Gruden back too.
Yeah, like I think they'll give him interviews just to meet the Rooney Rule, but I don't think teams are gonna hire him as a head coach, which just benefits us.
Do you think his tenure in Miami is hurting his head coaching abilities to come out, or he's just going to stick with being a defensive coordinator?
No, it's hurting it, Woody, because he's got the lawsuit against the Miami Dolphins in the NFL right now. And it's the same situation that Gruden's in. Gruden's suing the NFL because only his emails were the ones leaked. Out of all the emails, only Gruden emails. And the thing with those two cases, so Flores' case is going to arbitration, right? So that one could be decided before the end of the season, before free agency and the draft. So Flores could, in theory, if that goes to arbitration and gets settled, he might go and be a head coach this next season. It could happen.
Yeah, but I think Flores is gonna have to go to like a team that has a veteran quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, well, but his possibility, though, Sarah, of leaving is of becoming the head coach next season. I would say it's higher than Gruden's, because both these guys. No. Well, no, because Gruden, he's going to trial. He won his arbitration. So Gruden filed when they said, "Well, what's going to go to arbitration?" Gruden's lawyer said, "No." They went to a judge, and the judge agreed with Gruden, and now it's going to be a judge or a jury trial. So
like
Gruden's
if
actually
Flores
getting
was
a day in court.
to go to the Bengals, they would be a scary team, because Flores would need to deal anything with the offense, and he would just beef up that defense. Right. So they would be a scared team. So I hope he doesn't.
Flores' case is closer to resolution than Gruden's case. And and both these guys could go be head coaches right now, but I think a lot of teams don't want to hire someone who's suing the league. You know,
like giving a guy a coordinator job is a lot different than giving a guy the head coaching job.
Yep.
Right. And the answer, Jeremy, we have 9 picks next year. I wouldn't trade any of them for more picks. I'd be picking the best offensive linemen in the draft, right down the board. Depth we need. So that's just me on the draft.
Hey, Woody, is this coming draft a good year for like offensive tackles though?
Yeah. Yeah, this year's like last year was probably the quarterbacks and stuff like that. I'll have to check up on the offensive alignment, but there are a lot like forget his name. There's one from Georgia. There's one from Texas. They said they're going to go in the top 10.
Oh,
So we're going to get one of those guys.
Yeah, this is a good draft. They're saying for O-line for the trenches. This is a trench draft, is what they're saying. You've got some running backs, receivers, quarterbacks. You've always got one or two, but this is a better draft for the trenches than we've seen in the last couple of years. Is what they're saying. You've got another couple T-Rex guys out there on O-lines that are being talked about. They're doing good in college, but the T-Rex arm thing again. So it'll be. It's hard for me too at this point, Sarah, too, honestly, to talk draft because we do this every year now, right? We start talking about the draft, and then the combine happens and everything changes. Like literally everything changes, right? It gives us something to talk about on the show, and we can argue and debate it, and then the combine happens, and the whole world gets turned on its head usually. So, but it's supposedly a good draft for the line, and with 9 picks. We're drafting trenches and we're drafting probably
Merry Christmas, Kim.
Merry Christmas, Kim. We're probably drafting another safety, maybe another running back. We got some guys in house that didn't play this year, like Wheeler at running back. Bears were high on him, and then he got injured in he tore his ACL in the final preseason game. So they may be looking at him as like making the roster next year. So maybe I don't need to draft the running back as high because I got Wheeler. So they are looking at they've 9 picks. I think we're spending all of them on picks, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we try to. I could see us maybe trying to move around a little bit. So I don't think we're trading drafts for a coach or a player.
Is
at
Foles
all.
coming back?
Foles will be back.
Here we go. All right, Mike, shoot it.
Yeah, shoot the slide, Mike.
That'd be good.
Shoot it. Oh, since you like stats so well, since the downgrade them a lot, we're usually leading the league in this, and we don't get to say this very often. A lot of other fans isn't really gonna like it, but look at all the quarterbacks that have more interceptions than Caleb.
Oh, I'm not saying he takes care of the ball, of course, but he's not. They're not winning games.
You want to name them off? What do you like?
I know, but they're not winning games. This is all fine and dandy.
There's every stat that gets pulled up, it's always a deflection for something else. Like, can't just consider it a good stat, bad stat.
I know. That's a good. Hey, Mike, that's a good stat. That's beautiful, buddy. I fucking love it.
Caleb,
awesome.
Caleb he takes care of the ball, but I think his other problem, he hasn't got the timing down. Like that's his problem. He hasn't gotten the timing down, and that comes with playing, and he's gotten better. We've all seen Caleb progress throughout the season, right? Go from week 1 to now, he's progressed a ton. We were talking yesterday about Fields versus Caleb, and I'm happy with what we did. Fields has a good ceiling. He's still a playmaker. He can run the ball, but Caleb shows more downfield throwing ability. He shows a better ability at reading what's out there. He's made some throws that Justin, I think, could only dream of making. Justin's still a good playmaker, though.
And who's your quarterback coach?
I don't even know who that is these days. They've changed people around so much.
That's your problem.
What?
Right. Robert, that's not a cherry picking stat, by the way. A cherry picking stat would be like under 2 minutes into the fourth quarter and Caleb Williams has 2,000 yards. Come on, that's a.
Oh.
I hope you guys get a new quarterbacks coach because if you don't know who he is, that's probably part of the problem why Caleb isn't developing.
Well, we need a new O-line coach as well.
Look, he is developing. We've seen him develop. I think part of it, though, part of the problem was the play calling because we saw Caleb make a big leap once we got rid of Waldron. When we got rid of Waldron and Brown started calling plays, Caleb made another leap. So we've seen a couple leaps this year. But I mean, look, at a good quarterbacks coach is always a good default answer, right? It's always the argument. But part of it's also play calling and offensive scheme that affects the development of your quarterback, right? What situations you put him in. We need a good OC. If we get a defensive minded head coach, we need a good OC. If we get an offensive minded head coach, then we need a good DC, and you better bring a good quarterback coach too. I mean,
like I keep joking about Josh McDaniels, but I think if you guys bring him in as an OC, it wouldn't be so bad because he's never getting a coaching job again, so he's not going to get poached. But at the same time, he's done enough that he's a good offensive coordinator. He's just not a good coach,
Well, like if let's say we brought Vrabel in, let's say we were to hire Vrabel. Now, look, I still want to see if Vrabel gets fired with the Giants because I think he's primed to be an OC again. But there are a couple good former head coaches that are OCs that like McDaniels. You're right, Sarah. You could bring in let's say a defensive minded head coach like Vrabel. You could bring McDaniels in and probably feel pretty confident, right, in that coaching staff. At least before the season starts, you feel confident. We'll see. You have to see how it plays out. But yeah, he's a possibility. That's what I'm saying. I think there are too many fans or people who are like, oh my God, the Bears have to have an offensive head coach. No, you just have to have a good head coach that, regardless if they're offensive or defensive minded, whatever side of the ball they're not mind of, then they have to have a good coordinator. So if you bring in Vrabel, can he hire a good OC? That's the key with him. If
Well,
you're
and
going to
he's
hire
shown that
player,
he has the ability to hire good OCs because
right.
he hired LaFleur as their OC and then Arthur Smith. So he's shown that he has that capability,
Yep. And like if you go with Ben Johnson, okay, great. He runs a good offense in Detroit, but is he going to bring, what kind of defensive coordinator is he going to get? Is Robert Saleh going to be his coordinator? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Do you guys run a 3-4 or
Yeah,
a 4-3?
but here's the thing in Chicago. We've had numerous discussions on OC head coach ever since Trubisky, Fields. Like, look at those quarterbacks and Caleb Williams. Like, we cannot get a consistent coaching staff or organization. It seems like we get them from the temp service. Like, we only get them so long and then we start fresh. Like, you got to have some kind of consistency.
Now, the wild card for me in all this, and I keep saying that we jacked it up when we made Brown the interim. I think they should have made Washington the interim head coach, left Brown as the interim OC, because then it would have been easier to retain him in that position next season, or in a position next season. Now it's kind of hard for the Bears to keep him in the organization. He's got a great rapport with Caleb, and Caleb has grown under him pretty significantly. I don't know if you could, if let's say you hired Vrabel, and I know we're throwing him out because he's the biggest, one of the bigger names out there in this coaching hunt. But if Vrabel came to Chicago, would he want to keep, Brown as the OC after being the interim head coach for the last 6 games or so of the season? I don't know.
Have you guys considered Todd Monken?
I've heard that name thrown around a bit too.
Because then Caleb has a play style similar to Lamar, and so I think if you guys bring in Todd Monken, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Just a thought.
My problem though, Sarah, I think what I come down to is this on the head coach, right? I don't care if it's offensive minded or defensive minded, as long as they hire good coordinator, right? That's one. The other piece is whatever coach they bring in has got to be ready to basically take this roster and be playoff ready year one. I don't know if a first time head coach is the answer to that.
You don't know what?
I don't know if a first time head coach is the guy. I mean, it's been done, sure. LaFleur did it, Nagy did it, but I don't know if I want a first-time head coach with this roster.
Well, not to be rude or anything, but I think one of your guys' biggest problems is you don't have a culture. So you need to hire a head coach to first come in and install a culture.
And that's like where guys like Vrabel and Gruden, you look at them and you know they're going to bring that, right? And there's some other guys like there's some other head coaches that might be let go that could be surprising, like Stefanski. Stefanski isn't exactly secure in Cleveland, right? So I mean, there's some like I get Stefanski, I'd put him on the list.
How about Joe Brady of Buffalo?
Yeah, he's interesting too.
Did he fail in Carolina with Rule?
I'm not too sure.
Not too sure, but the failure of them as a head coach somewhere else is not necessarily a detractor, right? Because they gained experience, and that experience matters, right? And so did they learn from their mistake? Then becomes a question. I mean, it's a little bit of a risk, yeah. But look what's happened with Matt Nagy. He's the heir apparent to take over for Andy Reid now when Andy Reid retires.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I know. But you never know.
That's a good thing for everyone else because then that means the Chiefs dynasty will be done.
Well, you never know. Head coaches might go somewhere else and
right,
work out. So you never know.
Because we're basing that off of an old site picture of Nagy, which has now changed over the last 3-4 years. So
yeah, but is he calling plays or is Andy Reid?
He's calling plays. Well, they both.
Yeah, Nagy is. Yeah,
they're both calling plays. I mean, Reid will call a few, but the bulk of the plays are being called by Matt Nagy.
How many years do you guys think he's gonna coach?
I think Andy Reid's done.
I think after this season he's retiring.
I think he's done. Yep.
So, and look, there are going to be some more wild cards in this coaching hunt, right? I mean, there's going to be some guys like Stefanski might become available, or some other, or what? I don't think they're going to fire Shanahan, but you never know, right? You never know. Something stupid could happen in San Francisco. All of a sudden, Shanahan's gone. I mean, it's still with there still being three games left for everyone in the regular season. Let's see what happens on Black Monday. Black Monday, then the conversations can start in earnest because the guys are going to get fired, and we're going to know what the site picture and who's out there.
How many teams need head coaches this season?
Oh, geez, Jacksonville.
Yeah. He's not a bad head coach. I mean, he might not be a bad.
Doug Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson might be someone we look at too.
Or maybe you guys should bring him in as a consultant.
Well, that's what some of these guys do, sure. And I think that there might be one or two of these guys who do that. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if Belichick isn't a consultant during a head coaching process. Now that he's got his job, that a team like the Bears or Jacksonville doesn't bring him in to be a consultant during the head coach search. Because remember, a lot of these teams, what they do, the GM and the president of football operations will go out and get a third guy to be from outside the team to consult during the process. Like a lot of these teams do that. So they'll get a guy like a Belichick to come in and help with the search and give input that's from outside the organization. So I wouldn't be surprised that might happen for one or two.
There's a couple teams like Carolina, which I think is a landing spot for Ben Johnson because that's where he's from, and Bryce Young's coming out of his shell.
But do you think Canales is going to get fired after one season, Woody?
I mean, you never know. It's Ben Johnson's wants to come home, and Carolina's as shitty as they were the last couple of years. You never know.
James Kepler is too unpredictable. You don't know.
And the outcome of Dallas's year, McCarthy could be gone. Not too many coaching job. Gianna's.
Do you guys want McCarthy? Because I've been seeing Bears Twitter talking about McCarthy.
No.
Broski, going back in the comments, Broski, I kind of agree with you. The only thing, and I think that's maybe why they promoted Brown too, is because now they kind of won't be able to keep him. They can just wipe the slate clean with all the coaches. But there are a couple coaches, like our running back coaches aren't bad. I actually like them.
Saints, yep.
Yeah, the Saints are going to be looking for a head coach. The Giants might be. I don't know if they're going to get. There's conflicting reports on Drabble, whether they're going to fire him or not. But for the Giants, I mean, the Jags, everyone's assuming he's going to get fired. But right now, the only ones we know are empty are the Jets, the Bears, and the Saints. Believe it or not, and Sarah, you're going to laugh at this one. Jerry Jones has not ruled out giving McCarthy a contract extension.
I wouldn't be surprised though. That's just how Jerry is.
Well, because they said that, he's like, look, last year we won 13 games, went to the playoffs. He's a Super Bowl caliber coach and started giving all the positives, right? It's like,
Right.
Yeah.
they're thinking about giving the dude an extension. So that's
Jerry's pretty loyal for the most part,
Yeah.
So if he likes McCarthy, he's gonna probably give him an extension. And from what I heard, Dak was backing up McCarthy. So
yeah, it's they're and then
Wow.
you still got like a Stefanski is still going to be retained in Cleveland.
Mhm.
I really don't see how you fire him, but maybe they do. Depending on what. Here's another curveball, and he was on the hot seat last year, but Tomlin and with the Steelers, if they don't perform in the playoffs, they might say, you know what? Yeah, it's great you have 15 winning seasons, but you can't win jack, so get out of here. Something like that could happen. So, the NFL is such a wild and crazy place sometimes with the retention of coaches and players. Guys that you think are safe are all of a sudden on the street.
I think if the Steelers get rid of Tomlin, that's who you go after.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
It would be dumb as hell of them to get rid of him, but if he gets fired, that's who you guys need.
And then as far as college coaches, because then there's going to be talk of college coaches, right?
Oh, boy.
I don't know. Now that's something where I have to defer to like the guys like Woody and that who watch more college than I do. I don't know. If I unless your name is Harbaugh, what college coaches have come in and done well right off the bat.
Well, to answer Darren's question, I'm not sure about the offensive-minded, defensive-minded coaches. I wouldn't mind to see what Vrabel does, but my dark horse, which will never happen, and Ken, you know this, is that I would like to see Caleb Williams get groomed. I wouldn't mind seeing Kellen Moore, a head coach, to see how he does as well.
Hey, Darren, great show last night, by the way. He didn't go on. Wait for him to go on.
He was watching my Devils win.
Hot name for like the last couple of off seasons, but yet he hasn't gotten a coaching job. So I don't know if there's something.
The enemy.
The enemy is another name that could be one of those. His name comes up and then drops off, and it's lateral move after lateral move, and it's like.
Did he just get fired from UCLA too?
No, he decided it was a mutual parting.
Yep.
So he got fired.
Yeah, that might be the nice way to say, or he may have decided to leave because he wants to go back to the NFL and just college ball wasn't for him.
Well, the Bears,
college coaches who come to the NFL and like look at Saban came or Spurrier or some of these other guys that come for a year or two and then go, yeah, I'm not digging the NFL game. I want to go back to college. Well, let's say the inverse can't be true. The enemy goes to the college ranks, goes, dude, I don't want to deal with all the recruiting and this, that. No, I just want to go back to being a coach and not have to do all this other crap. And college game isn't for him, so he wants to go back to the NFL, and that could be true too.
The Bears are the Bears, though, so we're always,
I don't know.
wrong. We'll probably hire Kingsbury.
I wouldn't trust a college coach with you guys though, because your team is in so much turmoil. Bringing in the college coach, I think, is not going to help your team. You need somebody that's already established, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't want a college coach.
No, I agree with you, sir. That's why I'm kind of like, want to shy away from some of these first-time head coach coordinators like Ben Johnson. Yeah, great. He was a good coordinator for the last couple years in Detroit, but past that, how established is he really? And can he hire a good DC? Right? It's great when you got these guys who've been an OC or DC for one team where they've been really good as an OC or DC. That's a data set of one.
Well, and my question with him is, what quarterback has he really developed? He hasn't. It's just Jared Goff, who came to the Lions already developed.
Yeah.
And
Well, they'll
so
say, some of the Lions fans say, well, he resurrected Goff's career. Like, Goff already took the Rams to a Super Bowl.
exactly. So it's like, yeah, he's good at play calling, but how do you know he's going to be able to develop your young quarterback?
And actually, one thing for Bears fans, or just fans in general, to keep in mind, the Bears are a great example of that this year, right? Like, look at when Brown took over as OC and was calling the plays in the press box. Completely different than how he's been calling plays from the sideline. So going from the press box calling plays to the sideline, dealing with everything, is a big difference. It's a huge difference. The way you even see just the way you see the game right off the bat is different. So yeah, that's the other thing about these guys who are OCs, DCs. Like, if you're an OC or DC, it calls everything from the box, and now you're going to be a head coach calling everything from the sideline. Like, look at how badly Brown reacted from that move in the San Francisco game, and you can even look at the Vikings game. He still hasn't gotten it. It's a
Well,
big adjustment.
and he's got way more responsibilities now than just worrying about the offense, And so I think that was a big plate they put on him that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think that though, but it goes back to what Broski said, right? I think by them making him the interim head coach, it ensures that they're going to wipe the slate clean. If they had left Brown as the OC and promoted someone else to the head coach, now the argument's there to keep Brown as the OC next year. Now they can wipe the slate clean. Like, that's more to what Broski's point was in the comments earlier. So now the Bears can wipe out the entire coaching staff if they want. There's going to be no holdovers from regime to regime. They can wipe them all out.
So they're going to do that 2 years in a row.
Well, they didn't wipe out everyone because the running back coaches were the same this year. The O-line coaches were the same this year as last year. The wide receiver coaches were the same. The tight end coach was the same.
Yeah.
The defensive coaches were all the same, except for the DC in name only, right? So, I mean, now they can do a clean slate and they can be more targeted. And if you got a guy like Vrabel, now let's say Vrabel gets fired, and those guys are buds. Vrabel could bring Vrabel in. Say that
Who?
time.
Who?
If Vrabel gets fired in New York,
Oh, you mean?
And what's
Vrabel?
He hire Vrabel? Vrabel could hire Vrabel to be his OC if Vrabel isn't getting sniffs at another head coaching position, which I don't think he will. I think a lot of these guys who, when they become a head coach for the first time, like Vrabel or Flus, when they get fired from their first head coaching gig, a lot of these guys are doing, they go back to being an OC or DC for a couple years.
A year? Wow. Excuse me. Well, Mike just brought some breaking news in here. Holy fuck hole.
What?
Oh, for Thursday.
A year supply of coffee.
Oh.
Yeah. Of Bear 6. Ooh.
Wow. Did he put the thing
all over that?
Did he put up the thing yet for today?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
I don't think he did. He should have. Hey, Mike, is today's up? Yeah, go to Mike the Bear Fan, do your score prediction, and he's got a prize for the winner if someone gets it. But, and all these coaches right now that we've got are auditioning to get jobs elsewhere. That's all they're doing. So it could be, Sarah, a complete overhaul with all new everything at every level of coaching.
Sometimes you just need that to get like all that bad energy out and start anew.
Yeah, and I don't think Cliff Kingsbury should be in the conversation. I mean,
no.
He was a terrible head coach in Arizona, and people, but his pass with Caleb, I thought there might be, how good's that pass with Caleb? We assume, well, he was Caleb's coach in college, so therefore it must be good. USC wasn't exactly lighting the place on fire under Kingsbury either. So
I think that would be a mistake to hire Cliff because he was not a good head coach, and he's meant to be an offensive coordinator. And if you guys don't want to be in the basement again, then I think you better not hire Cliff.
Yeah, because we got the personnel, right? We got good players on this team. I mean, look, we got players on this team that if they became free agents tomorrow, 30 teams or 31 teams in the league would be trying to get, right? So we've got a pretty good roster. It's just we got to find the coaching to match the roster. Usually, and we've had cases where we've had the good coaching and not a good roster. This is one of those times where no, we've got the people. Now we just need a good coach.
Yeah, that's why I think you guys need to just wipe clean and bring everybody new in so that all the players can buy into the new regime. Because if you have pieces of the old regime,
Right.
it's gonna be hard to buy into it when it wasn't working. You know.
One name that Bears fans haven't been talking about because the guy came out very quickly and said, I want nothing to do with it. But I think it's more of a smokescreen than anything, is Ron Rivera. I think Ron Rivera is another guy who would be good for this Bears team, not just because he's a former Bear, but he was good with Cam. Look what he did. He actually did a lot of good things in Washington, right? Washington is competitive now because of what Rivera did when he was there. Rivera would be another guy I would look at, but he's like, well, I don't like the McCaskies, is what he supposedly said. So, knowing the Chicago media and that is talking about, what's funny? Usually because the guy that no one's talking about is the guy that gets hired, right? So I could see him as being a dark horse candidate as well. But Rivera's got health issues too. Who knows where he's at with his cancer? But I would like to see, Rivera to me is an interesting scenario too. If Rivera were to come on board,
is he a defensive coach?
Yeah, he was our DC for a minute before he was our DC, then got hired away to be a head coach in Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Where he was there for what, 8 years, and then he left there and went to.
And that's when Vic came.
So
Vic Fangio. Now he's a Sheagle. Fuck him.
How did your guys' team do under Vic? I don't even remember.
Oh,
Vic
that defense was sick. My God.
But Vic,
what years were those?
That was just like what, 5-6 years ago, right? Vic
yep.
And then Vic left here, got his first head coaching job in his life in Denver, and it was a disaster. And then he just went back to being a DC.
Yep. Now he's at the Sheagles.
That's just a great coordinator. Everywhere he's gone, he's made a defense good.
Yeah,
but there's no way we're getting Vic Fangio pried away from the Eagles.
No.
Not unless you make him a head coach.
I don't think he wants to be a head coach. I think he's like, nope, I'm a DC. And because look, a guy like him, some of these guys don't get it. A guy like Fangio is going to almost makes head coach money to be a DC because he's that good of a DC.
Yeah, and sometimes I think they prefer that because then they just want to focus on what they're good at,
And you got to respect coaches like that too, because all these, I want to be a head coach. Oh yeah, I want to run this. I want to run that. And then people that want to stay coordinators should stay coordinators. And
I'll be happy. I'll tell you what, one coach I'll be happy to see gone, Woody, we don't talk about him. In fact, most of us don't even know his name, is our special teams coach. Ranked last in the NFL all year.
Yeah.
So, can we get Tom back, please? That guy was good when he was. So, yeah, I mean, that's their part. We got to not go back to the well. Like, remember, at least we're not hearing, we got to bring Lovie Smith back. We're not hearing that kind of crap. You can't go back to a former head coach or a former coach. Those reunions never work. They never seem to work.
The Vikings did. They didn't they because Bud Grant left for a while and then came back, right?
Coordinators come back and it works, but I've never seen head coaches go back.
No, I'm talking about Bud Grant, the Vikings coach, because he was the coach for like a long time, and then he, I think, left for a while, and then he came back for like a couple seasons in the 80s, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we're taking way back. I don't remember, to be honest, Sarah.
But I think he was like the best Vikings head coach of all time. So,
I mean, McDaniels went back to being an OC in New England and earned himself another head coaching gig. I mean, coordinators go back, but head coaches, I very rarely. Here's the thing: that Pete Carroll's out there, but he's 73. Does he want to come back Coach Pete Carroll's an interesting guy too. No one's talking about him, but yeah, he retired, right? And that's when he left the Seahawks. But guys change their mind.
Geez, I'd rather have Bill Cowher.
But you know what I'm saying though? Like there could be a dark horse like that in the mix that we're not even tracking.
Like Rex Ryan?
Oh my God, no.
Someone said, yes, I've heard Rex Ryan now 2 or 3 times. Like I think Rex Ryan would be a great coordinator, but he wants too much control in that. I'll tell you what was interesting. Guess who was in Chicago last week? They went to
Gruden.
Gruden.
Yeah.
And
He was there visiting, Ken. He was there visiting.
He wasn't that.
Yeah. He wanted to try the deep dish.
He was, although he's got a big contract with Barstool, he was there to do something for Barstool.
Yeah, see, I met him the one time, and let me tell you, we had a flag football game, so I went to Wawa to pick something up, and Gruden was there because his kid went to Lafayette in Pennsylvania here, and he was a dick.
He's an intense dude, man. I can't imagine him. We'd all have to go buy Bears visors after that because he doesn't wear ball caps. He wears visors. So.
Yep.
We have Chucky on the side. So I mean,
McDaniels too.
Year, like the offseason for the Bears is going to be interesting. Today's game, which starts here in about 9 minutes, is going to be an interesting game. Got some good injuries. Like Mike was thinking, I was thinking he was typing it as I was speaking it. The injury report, Woody, is a little interesting today, isn't it?
Yeah, I got to see if there's the final one. Montgomery obviously out for the Lions. McNeil for the Bears. Bates is out, season-ending IR for the concussion. Roshan was at full practice. He's still a game-time decision. Homer's out. Karan is not playing today. So smartest guy in the team. I was like, fucking A, dude. So there's a lot more injuries on Detroit earlier in the week, but there are a lot of rest. So
is the defense pretty healthy going into the game?
Well, our defense?
Yeah.
Well, Dexter's not playing today. But Detroit's off defensive line is more hurt with McNeil and obviously Hutchinson out.
Brisker's still out for us.
Brisker's still out, yeah. So
he's been eligible to come back for 2 games already.
I wouldn't even sit. I would just.
I was just saying, like, if your defense is pretty healthy, I think you guys have a real chance of upsetting them because if their defense is, pretty desolated, I think you can score them. It's just I'm worried you won't be able to keep up with them in scoring.
Our rush defense, even though Montgomery's not out, Gibbs is unbelievable. Yeah. We're gonna get hurt.
Hey, start putting your score predictions, guys, in the comments. Mike, the Bear fan, led off with a prediction of 31-27 Bears.
Lord.
Wow. Lions. He's saying Lions defense isn't very good, and Bears should get the offense going. Since it was Williams' best game last game versus Detroit. Interesting there. I think it's going to be a close game. Look at the Vikings game was closer than what the final score did. They let the score get away from them at the end.
Yep.
I think the Lions will come out, get that first touchdown, take an early lead. And the Bears will do what the Bears have done all year, come back in the second half. We've seen a couple where they've started to actually play well in the second quarter. I think this is another close game. You're right. Detroit has a ton of injuries. They're pushing for the number 1 seed to keep the number 1 seed, but at the same time, they're not going to sell the farm to keep the number 1 seed. So
I think you guys are going to be able to throw on them.
I think so too, Sarah.
Their backs are hurting.
Yeah. If look at the offensive line is minus the last 5 games, 4 of those 5 games has been 2 sacks or less. If they can do that today, then yeah, I think Caleb's going to have a day. He'll put up some good numbers. Broski says 34-27 Lions over the Bears.
Ooh.
Still I'm going to go with 28-20 Bears.
Seriously?
Are you saying that because you're on the show?
Yeah, and plus I need you guys to
I do that. That's Jesus Christ.
She's trying to take over the North.
Jesus Christ.
And
I'm trying to give you guys confidence.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And what do you know, Bates, you said, is out. I think Bates is gone from the team. after the season too. By the way, I don't think we.
Didn't you guys use draft picks to get him?
No, he was a
No.
Oh, he
he was
was
a
a
free
free
agent
agent.
signing.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
from Buffalo. Yeah.
I think he's gone. He's just gone. They're going to move on. I mean, if he gets signed, it's because of depth, but not to be a starter.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
We need that.
barely played this year, huh?
He played like he doesn't even have 200 snaps this year. Like he barely played. Back to predictions. Who do you got in the game?
Well, it's sad with all the injuries on Detroit. Detroit is still a 7-point favorite. I have Detroit winning 31-17.
They're a 7-point favorite, which means we usually get the 3 points as we're at home.
They're picked to kill us.
10-point favorite. The Lions, by all intents, by record, you look at this, say the Lions should win, but the Bears play close. Daniel's got 34-13 Lions. So I can see where that happens if we get a repeat of Monday, but I think the Bears keep it, play competitive like normal. I think the Lions, while they're good, they are susceptible.
Oh, and the one thing about the Lions that their weakness is they can't contain running quarterbacks.
No, well, Caleb's not a big running quarterback.
No, he only runs for his life.
I'm gonna, you know what though? Look, I'm gonna take the last Sunday at Soldier Field for the season, and we need to get a win. The Lions should win this, but I'm gonna take the Bears, and I'm gonna call it 27-23.
Ken, you said that we need to win. We need to win for what?
We just need to win for the morale. Because look, this is the where it gets interesting, right, Woody? Analytically thinking, we'd want the Bears to lose so we get the 9th. Right now we're sitting at the 9th pick, but if we lose, maybe we drop down to the 5th pick or something like that. If we win, now maybe we're at the 13th pick. So I get it. Analytically speaking, we need to lose this game for the picks. But as a fan, you still want to see your team win.
Right. I understand. I want to win too,
game.
but the thing is that when you're out, when you're eliminated, you want to play for next year.
Yeah.
You want to get the next year set up.
Look,
I think the players still have pride in them because
they're playing for contracts, and that's what I'm saying. But on the analytical side, Woody, here's my take on that. The Bears need to lose today. The Bears need to lose Thursday, and then they need to win against Green Bay. And if they seriously, if they lose these last 2 home games and beat Green Bay on the road in Week 18. I'm a happy camper analytically, because I think at that point we're still drafting top 10, and it's not going to hurt us.
Oh, question for you guys. So, say if you guys lose this week, do you think you guys are going to put in Bajan for the last 2 games just to keep Caleb healthy?
No, they got it. Caleb Williams got to end up on like a high.
Oh,
yeah. So.
Yeah, and of course, look, I'd love to see the Lions get knocked out of the pole position and the Vikings take it over too. There's a little piece of that why I'd want to see the Bears.
I don't want the fucking Eagles that high, man. Just keep winning, Detroit. Keep fucking winning.
Well, no, I think the Vikings own the tiebreak on the Eagles.
Yeah, we do.
So the Vikings winning the division and being number 1 seed actually helps you, Woody, because it knocks the Lions down and it knocks the Eagles down.
But the Eagles have an easy schedule. Easy remaining schedule. Eagles.
No, but I mean, if it would come down to common opponents, and we beat the Falcons, and they lost to the Falcons.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Right. So it's gonna be interesting. Look, guys, game starts in about a minute. Don't forget Monday through Friday, Ken and Ken in the morning. There will be no Ken and Ken in the morning on Christmas morning. We will be back here on Christmas Day for another edition of Halas Hall, previewing the game against the Sea Chickens. Everyone though that we don't see, well, we're not going to see you till then. Enjoy the game. Enjoy Christmas. Everyone have a great Christmas. And we'll be back for Ken and Ken Monday and Tuesday, and we'll take Christmas off. Sarah, thank you for coming on this week.
Absolutely.
Yep. Good luck, you guys. Hope you guys pull it out.
Just for you, Sarah, because we're out looking for the Vikings. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks to Dan and Mike for making it on. Of course, subscribers, Mike sent you the link. So enjoy the game. Everyone, whoever team you're rooting for, enjoy the game today. Have a great Christmas. From all of us here at Halas Hall, thank you for watching with us. Everyone on X, Thank you so much. We will be back here Wednesday night after we've all opened up those Christmas presents. Everyone have a Merry Christmas. Broski, great to see you back, brother. We'll see how
Absolutely.
we're out of here. Enjoy the game.